Alright, so this is a fun one. I've taken a lot of different methods that we can use using the object panel and kind of put them into a single worksheet to play around with. Today is about experimenting, and I want you to experiment. Then remember, there are also 100 ways to do anything inside of these programs. The way I do it might not be the correct way for you. You might have a better way to do. I also want you to learn how to troubleshoot. Sometimes you're going to create issues and you're going to need to figure out what these issues are. So we're going to start with this intertwine option, and we're going to see an issue that you might have. If you look at these shapes, you can tell which one's on top and which one's on bottom. And you can tell that based on the colors and how they're overlapping each other. But what if they weren't? What if the black was over top here and the blue was over top here? Intertwining, looking like that shape is connected. I'm going to go up to the top, Object, Intertwine, Make. It's going to give me a little lasso tool, and I can draw over where I want this to intertwine. Now my black is on top here, my blue is on top here. So this gives me kind of a unique look. Now let's go to my other one over here, and we'll intertwine it the same way. Object, Intertwine, Make, and go over this area. I believe you have to close that up to have it selected. So I have these two intertwined, but how do I get these two, the blue one and the yellow, intertwined? If I select both, try it again, it's not going to let me. It just offers up a release. So this is where you have to learn how to troubleshoot. I can do this with a couple of other tools. You can probably do it with a couple of other tools too. So we need to figure out how we can get the blue on top here. We could use the pen tool to draw this area and do it that way. That would be one way. The way I'm going to do it is I'm going to choose Object with both of these selected. I'm going to do Object, and I'm going to do Expand. I'm going to uncheck Object. I'm going to uncheck Fill. I'm just going to leave Stroke checked. And I'm going to hit OK. Now it's turned all of these strokes into fills, basically. Shift M allows me to select this area right here. That turns it white. So now clicking off, clicking back on, just that white shape, if you can select it. Might need to use my white arrow here to get it. Hit I on my keyboard and click on the blue. Now it's intertwined. Was my way the right way? I don't know. There's 100 ways to do these things, but it worked in this scenario. So that's what I'm doing. On the bottom side here, I want you to take a couple of different shapes, or any shapes that you want, and I want you to intertwine at least 4 shapes in a unique way to you. When you're done, move over to Repeats. On the Repeat option, we can have any shape selected. Go up to the top, Object, Repeat, and we can choose one of the options to repeat. The object right here for Grid allows me to create stars in a gridded format. The bounding box it gives me allows me to create more or less based on the size of my box. Same for horizontal or vertical. So I can also, with these little slider bars, increase the density of these stars, making them tighter or smaller, or whatever I want to create a unique pattern. So put that pattern right there, play around with that grid one. Now down below I want to create something different though. I want to create kind of an oval shape. I'm going to hit Shift C to get my anchor point tool that's right here underneath my pen tool. And I'm going to click one time on each anchor point at the top and bottom. This is going to give me kind of a canoe look, right? With this canoe look, I'm going to get my ellipse tool, L for my ellipse tool. I'm going to hover right over this anchor, holding Shift and Option. I'm going to click and drag up to create a circle. Selecting both, Shift M. I'm going to click on this little option right here to cut that out, and there to cut that out. Getting my black arrow here, I can click off of these two, and it's left me with this one little petal. So I've clicked off on it, nothing, clicked on the circle, deleted, triangle, deleted. Now I'm going to change the color of this to whatever color I want it to be. I'm going to choose a yellow for me. So with this shape selected, I'm going to try a different repeat. I'm going to choose the one that says radial. Radial repeats in a circle. Now with my radial option, I can increase how many petals I have, or instances. I can decrease. I can make it as many as I want to create whatever style I want. On this shape right here, I can make it taller, looser shapes. I can make them tighter shapes. I can also choose to start it or stop it at a specific point using these options. Now I'm going to leave it as a full flower here. I'm also going to put a black circle in the middle just to kind of create a sunflower look. So there's my sunflower. Zoom out. I'm going to shrink this whole thing down to take up just a small part of this corner. And then I'm going to go to Object, Repeat again. So this time I'm repeating a repeat that already exists. I have a much more complicated looking pattern. I could double click into this, hold Option, duplicate, shrink down to create more flowers. And you see how quickly you can end up with a very complicated pattern going on. I can shrink these down, I can bring these in, I can have all kinds of different looks. Be careful, these things like to crash your computers. Alright, place this one down here, have it look a little different so I can see that you have two different sizes. On the third one down here, I want you to create a new shape, create a new pattern on whatever you would like. Try something with multiple colors. Blends. Blends are a great way to kind of create gradients that aren't gradients per se. Blends can be a little frustrating sometimes, so fair warning on that. What we're going to create is a fairly frustrating one. To create a blend, you have to have two things selected. So this red and this black. Object at the top, I'm going to go to blend. I'm going to choose blend options first. And there's a number of blend options here depending on whether you want to work on the color specifically or the distance or steps between these dots. I'm going to choose smooth color first. Orientation doesn't matter at the moment because we're just going in a straight line. And I'm going to hit OK. After I hit OK, I'm going to go back to my blend option and I'm going to hit blend make. And now I get a nice smooth option. Let's try it again between the black and the green. Have both selected, object, blend. This time under blend options, I want you to choose specified steps. And I want you to choose 4. Hit OK. And then object, blend, make. And you can see that it's added 4 circles in between the two that you have. And it's tapering the color based on how close it is to each other. Try the blue and the black. Object, blend. This time trying blending options. We are going to try the specified distance. Change this to 0.05. And hit OK on that. Next, object, blend, make. Now, if you look carefully at this, you can see that there are actually a number of circles that make up that blend. It's not as smooth as this one at the top, but it's certainly not the one in the middle either. So it's all about how you want these to blend out as to how you can create what you want to create. So let's create something interesting on this one. I want you to create a circle down here. Any color circle will do. I want you to find your knife tool. Your knife tool is underneath your eraser tool, so you're going to click and hold on your eraser tool and find your knife. I want you to carve kind of a wave into this, and I'm going to separate these two shapes. Now, off on the right hand side of this, I want you to type out your name. If your name is particularly long, I might just type 2 words of whatever you would like to do. The font I want you to pick is Impact, and I want it to be in caps. I'm going to duplicate that down, and I want to type my last. Now again, it can be any 2 words. I'm going to select these 2 words. I'm going to go to Type, Create Outlines, to create outlines on that. Now, what we're about to do needs this shape to be on top. So I'm going to go to Object, Arrange, Bring to Front. On this shape, nothing will change by the look of it. When you select the name and the top shape only, so first name, top shape only. I'm going to go to Object, Envelope, Distort, Make with Top Mesh. When I do that, it puts my name into that shape and it creates a pretty cool look. I'm going to grab my last name, hold shift on the bottom, same thing. Object, envelope, distort, make with top mesh. So I already get a pretty cool look right here, right? I'm going to duplicate this name, this whole thing, and I'm going to shrink it down fairly dramatically, about like that. Leave it over on the side for a minute, and we're going to change the color of this top. So I'm going to double click on this top. That gets me into the name. I can change the color. Pick whatever color floats your boat. You can change colors. You can do 2 different colors if you want to. It's certainly up to you. So I'm going to pick this orange. This duplication is on top currently, and I need it to be on the bottom. Range, send to back. Alright, so on this, I'm going to select both of the top. I'm going to go up to Object. I'm going to go to Blend, Blend Options. This time I'm going to do Specified Steps, and I'm going to leave it at 80. I'm going to hit OK, and then I'm going to blend and make that blend. You see the cool little look we get. Selecting the bottoms, I'm going to do the same thing. It should already be set, so you should just be able to hit Object, Blend, Make, and it should make it. Now, you can see there's a little bit of a readability issue on this, which can create issues. If you've got this made, you can hold Option, drag this to the side for a second, and then go to Object, Blend, Release. That'll let go of those. We'll have to hit Object, Ungroup as well. Now take this top object right here, place it back over top of your name, and this time give it a small gradient, a radial gradient. Hit G on your keyboard and make it bigger than the other one. And you see how it gives a nice rounded look to that. You still get that orange underlay, but it's not quite as punchy, that orange. Move your other name, do the same thing. G, get your gradient, click, hold, drag in the middle to create a pretty cool looking look here. So give me an effect that looks like this right here. This is wild. This is a heavy blend. We did a lot with this. I want you in this third one down here to experiment with your blends. Try going from one shape to another, to another, to another, to another, and see what you come up with. Now the last one here is patterns. Select this shape. With this shape, you can see we have kind of a rainbow looking gradient around the stroke, and that stroke's got this dashed line around it. What I want to do is repeat this pattern on the inside of the star shape. Now this isn't under Object this time. We're going to go to Effect. Under Effect, you're looking for Distort and Transform. We're looking specifically for the Transform option. With the Transform option, you want to be very careful here because this is an easy way to crash your computer. Beware. Scale, I want you to type in 95%. I want you to change your copies to 30. And it's not going to look like anything really changes except for it just blends into the middle. Now I want you to click on the option that says Angle and change that to a 2. You see how it starts to spiral. Change it to a 4. You see we get more of a look. Change that to a wild angle and you get a whole different kind of pattern. Pretty wild looking, right? Let's hit OK on that and move down. I want you to make a circle. And in this circle, I want you to add a gradient, and I want you to change it to whatever colors you want. It can be any color of gradient that you want it to be. Get a very different looking color though. Once you have this color, we're going to make a similar pattern. But I don't want to go up here and just hit to duplicate this because all you're going to duplicate is a circle. So if I hit Effect, Distort and Transform again, this time I'm going to choose one of these options and kind of mess this shape up a little bit. So if I want to zigzag that shape out a little bit, I can alter that so it looks a little different. This gives you kind of a starry look. I can hit OK. I'll go to that same effect and this time I'll choose Pucker and Bloat. I'll pull that in a little bit. This just gives me a more unique shape. When I've got the shape I like, and I'm going to change this color or add a color just to make it pop a little bit more. When I have my colors, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to that transform and I'm going to do the same thing. This time I'm just going to go out. Now again, be very careful. This will crash your computer. Only go out by like 2% on the scale. Only do like 20 copies. If you do 100, there goes your computer. Change your angle. And look at the different kind of styles this gives you. I'm going to push up to like 40 on my copies. I get a different look. If I go up to, call it 104, you see again, we start to get wild stuff. The more you shift the angle, the more wild it's going to look. The more color you introduce to this. So if I hit OK here and I alter my colors, I get much more different looks. So it's all about kind of playing with things and seeing what comes loose here. Get this one to fit into this next little piece. And then I want you to create a third one out of a completely new, unique shape. Again, be very careful not to crash this program doing some of these things. These are heavy on the computer and the computer struggles with it sometimes. At this point, you should have all of your boxes filled with your experimentations on this. I want you to remember to use these types of patterns when you're working in anything you're doing. If you're looking for backgrounds to create, this is a great way to create simple but unique backgrounds. For example, if I hit the eyeball on this, unlock my worksheet, and I were to get rid of all these white boxes, what do you see back here in the back of these worksheets? another version of these patterns. I want you to learn how to experiment, because that's what it really all comes down to in this program. Experimenting with the effects that you have. Find something that you like, work with it. Once you have this all decked out, turn this in for your today's screenshot.